More than 200 civil rights groups oppose the nomination of White House counsel Gregory Katsas, who has, reportedly, previously worked for the Trump administration. In perhaps the largest action of its kind, some 200 civil rights organizations are urging the Senate to reject Greg Katsas, a top Trump administration lawyer who on Thursday could be confirmed to a federal judgeship on the Washington, D.C. Circuit Court, a bench many say is second in power only to the U.S. Supreme Court. The reason: Katsas, deputy White House counsel, may have given legal advice or helped formulate some of President Donald Trump's most controversial policies and administrative actions. They include the travel ban on immigrants from Muslim-majority countries, the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, and the formation of Trump's Select Committee on Election Integrity, a body liberals believe is a front to enact tough, and possibly discriminatory, voter fraud laws. If confirmed, Katsas would get a lifetime appointment to a federal court whose jurisdiction includes the White House, and whose docket is packed with political cases, including challenges to laws, regulations and presidential power. In a letter sent to members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Liberal Lawyers Conference for Civil and Human Rights, a coalition member, declares Katsas' record, which includes serving in the White House and Justice Department under former President George W. Bush, reveals his far-right views and his belief in Trump's authority as the nation's chief executive. A longtime member of the Federalist Society and former law clerk to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, Mr. Katsas has advanced his ultra-conservative agenda in high-level positions in both the Trump administration and Bush administration. The letter, signed by LCCR President Vanita Gupta, states, "He has not demonstrated the necessary independence and fair-mindedness needed to serve in a lifetime appointment on the powerful D.C. Circuit." Dan Goldberg, the organization's legal director, says the opposition to Katsas has mobilized because he's been present and participated in an administration that has taken numerous actions of questionable legality. His fingerprints are on the most troubling and controversial action of any presidential administration in recent history. Christine Lucius, executive vice president for policy at Alliance for Justice, another coalition member, says the nominee has an incredibly long track record working on a broad range of civil rights rollbacks. Particularly troubling, she says, is Katsas' expansive view of Trump's presidential power, indicating he'd have a tough time maintaining impartiality and following established law if he is confirmed. He's complicit in some of the worst excesses of the Trump administration, Lucius says, pointing out that Katsas was also charged with screening other judicial nominees before the White House put him on the list. During his confirmation hearing, she said, Katsas didn't put enough daylight between himself and the administration he served. A clear warning sign the Senate should heed before confirming him with a rubber stamp. Yet with wealthy campaign donors pressuring Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to show some progress on Trump's agenda, it's an open question whether Katsas' close ties to the president's most contentious policies is enough to keep him off the bench. In a Senate floor speech last week, McConnell vowed to confirm all of Trump's pending judicial nominees, no matter how long it takes. Though Democrats grilled him during his Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing in October, Republicans praised Katsas for his integrity, his representation of Democratic as well as GOP clients, and his dedication to the rule of law. "I am responsible for providing legal advice to senior staff in the White House office, including the President and the counsel to the President, managing legal issues involving executive branch agencies, interviewing and recommending candidates for various executive and judicial appointments, and supervising approximately 15 associate counsels to the President." Katsas wrote in answers to the committee's standard questionnaire. In his defense, Katsas told lawmakers that he gave Trump legal advice on a few discrete questions related to special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. According to the Washington Post, when Sen. Dianne Feinstein, D. Califf, asked him to provide details, the Post reported, Katsas demurred, saying he didn't want to compromise Mueller's investigation or violate Trump's confidentiality. After the hearing, Feinstein suggested Katsas left behind more questions than answers. If confirmed to the D.C. Circuit, she told Politico in a statement, Greg Katsas could hear cases involving issues he was involved in the White House counsel's office. So it's critically important that he answer senators' questions pertaining to that work. Ditto, says Lucius of Alliance for Justice. Katsas showed no independence during his hearing. He didn't try to create any space or separation between the legal rollbacks he was involved with and how he'd perform as a judge. Lucius says, that raises doubts. She says that Katsas would be open-minded and fair or would come to the bench with independence. Nevertheless, I think the larger point is President Trump and his controversial actions are getting challenged in court and getting stopped in court, like Trump's ban on immigrants from Muslim-majority countries. Senate Republicans, she says, are trying to pack the federal bench with problematic nominees like Katsas and rush through their confirmations instead of changing his policies. Trump wants to change the court, Lucius says, like a hockey coach whose team gets repeatedly penalized on the ice. Instead of getting rid of high-sticking, he wants to get rid of the refs. Copyright 2017 U.S. News and World Report.